Well, finally we're live. Thanks for being here. This is our first global prayer project in a long time. And it's, I believe, the perfect time to bring the Global Prayer Project back into existence. We've gone through a lot of changes in the last couple of years. There's a lot of challenges that people face out there. A lot of fear born of suspicion that there are groups trying to control us, trying to bring about a change in human society, not for the best. And also fear of pandemic, fear of being vulnerable suddenly, and the disruption that comes from just having our lifestyles completely shifted at a moment's notice. And so we're at this point, I believe, facing a key time in human history. And that means that we have to come to grips with what to do about that. And if you are one who believes the evidence that's coming in, and it's in many ways it's very believable, that there is a dark side out there working, a dark side of corruption, of greed, a seeking of power, then you know that that's jolting. And for many people, that's just a kind of flooring experience. But at the same time, all this seems to be happening. I believe, are experiencing a rise in consciousness, in spiritual connection that's happening. And it's happening at the very same time we're fearing that the world is getting darker. So the Global Prayer Project, then, we can see as a way to come together. We're not advertising this. We're just seeking for people to spread the word. I believe that if we focus on the rising consciousness and that we seek to open up in the way that we'll be demonstrating and be participating in this global prayer meditation, then this will become contagious. And all it takes is people passing it around like you're doing videos about everything else. But the kind of wave a flag that will signal that it's time to come together, to have a goal of boosting spiritual connection and consciousness, and also talk about how to stay in that zone, how to stay in that mindset, stay in that vision of the future. Because we're contagious to other people in terms of lifting them into the spirit of this connection, and our conscious effort to stay in this connection. I want to spend a few more moments talking about what time it is in the world, and then we'll get to the prayer meditation. I believe that what is happening is that we have three really large generations at play. And the reason this is important is that you can find yourself in one of these three generations, and by doing that, you can figure out maybe what you're experiencing. and break through that into this spiritual connected consciousness that we want to spread around the globe. So the three generations I believe that are in play are the baby boomers and their children, millennials, and their children, the Zs. They're called. I hope they come up with another name very quickly. These are all very, very large generations at this point. The baby boomers, of course, are in a kind of legacy mode. In other words, we're getting older to a point where we want to make sure that we get our mission done in the world to help the future generations have a feeling of consciousness, expanded consciousness, and progress in the world. So baby boomers are asking the question, what can I do now to leave a legacy that makes a difference? And it's a group calling in a sense. What can we do now to leave a legacy? Their children, the millennials, are all passing between 38 and I'd say 42 right now. And they're asking the same questions that every generation asks at that age. And that is, I've found a way to center myself and live in the world and hopefully have an income stream. I've maybe had children. I've worked on relationships, and all that's hard work. But the question that comes is, what do I want to do with my life now? What is my real mission? Where can I find my high energy fulfillment? And that question is so stark now with all the shutdowns, all the limits on the economy. So it's a key question. And there's their children who are looking at college, coming at them, or in college, and they're asking the question, how do I really want to live? How do I get along and establish myself on my own as an adult? How can you do that in this day and time with all the challenges? So you see that there's a time of poignancy here. I mean, it's a time of real questioning. And I believe in part, that's why we have this sense of a rising consciousness, because we're asking essentially spiritual questions. And when you do that, this spiritual energy comes into the world. You ask the right question, you get the right answers. And it's interesting, partially because of what all the challenges. It just makes that questioning more heartfelt out there. So I believe this is the key time to begin a fun global effort to get us together into a really sincere, spiritually connected place that's contagious, where dreams come true. We'll talk about that. It takes a community of people seeking and talking and sharing. There's many, many communities. I would advise everybody. We can't stay on this global prayer focus all the time. But I believe because we're so shut down, we can find these communities, many of them virtual out there, that are springing up where we can discuss these questions. At CelestineVision.com, we have the Celestine Prophecy community, but synchronicity, as we know, if you set the intention, will bring a community to you. Um, and and that's really the first step, in my view. A lot of people feel very, very down right now. And I'd like to contrast that with the experiences that are happening in this higher consciousness environment that we can find, and talk about in general what we know about a higher spiritual connection and what it gives us. All these things can be proved to oneself. So I'll just talk in general about what the process is in moving from like a low energy place to a spiritually connected and inspired place where synchronicity happens. And I believe that the first effort in that cause is always intention. As especially now that we can feel consciousness, and once we get into it, we can feel consciousness rising. I think we proved to ourselves that consciousness is moving upward. So there's no reason. In fact, it's never been easier to move into connected consciousness and all the benefits that come with that. Regardless of what's going on in the outer world, this is a spiritual connection. And so when we get to the prayer project, this global prayer that we will do in a few minutes, it's that which the feeling of that giving that actually helps us move upward in consciousness and find that groundedness and the solution to being at a low energy place and seeking to stay in a higher energy place. So the process, if I can call it that, to tapping into this higher consciousness, provable higher consciousness, is well known, I believe, at this point. We've had 100 years of the human potential movement, which started when Dr. Carl Jung separated from Sigmund Freud. Sigmund had a very materialistic idea of the human being's potential. Dr. Jung thought there was more. And so his psychology was much more spiritually described. And of course, Dr. Jung discovered this phenomenon of synchronicity. So that's always the beginning point of the journey into a higher consciousness. It's the first proof that we can have, and that is synchronicity, because it's the experience of meaningful coincidences that somehow lead us forward in life in an inspired way. So in other words, the synchronicities always point in some way to a higher level of self-awareness, what we really want to do in life. And so our inspiration energy goes up. So I believe that if we want to monitor to really understand spiritual connection, it's an elevated sense of inspiration to do something. And of course, we know that to do something, that urge is within all of us, because we come here to do something to help the world evolve forward toward a higher spiritual consciousness. So synchronicity is the beginning, but it also leads us into these other experiences. And what that is a experience of self in our journey. So I always talk about this experience of centering in our life journey. It's very easy to fall into being a part player in someone else's journey. But the individuation process that Carl Jung talks about is our higher potential. So these two things, awareness of synchronicity and centering in what are my questions, what I really want to know about, what is it? Do I just need a solution? Is there something that I want to clarify about which direction that I can go? And what happens is if you have your questions right, and those of you who've read and discussed the Celestine Prophecy books know that that is about that's clarity. You're asking for clarity, and that sets up always a synchronistic answer to that question. And that is where we once we get it, questions being answered, that flow, our inspiration energy goes further and further up. So there are other experiences and what I call enlightenments that steps that are our birthright to find, and when that happens, the inspiration energy goes up. But just paying attention to synchronicity, just having some questions, and believing that a mysterious coincidence will happen to answer those questions. It's the help we get in life. So if you're having trouble breaking free of this materialism that permeates human culture, that is still the weight that holds human culture down, prevents us to break into this higher connected consciousness. If you're having trouble with that, if you're having trouble believing miracles can happen in life, the synchronicity is tiny miracles. And if they happen, and everybody's experienced one or two, at the very least, mysterious coincidences that lead us forward. This is help. That means that in life, our birthright is to have help in living this life. So we have to constantly remind ourselves of that, because the materialistic mindset is that it's all just ordinary stuff, and it's there's no greater meaning to life, no greater meaning for higher inspiration energy and all that comes with that, because the materialists say it's just all ordinary. But of course, anyone can prove to themselves that it's more. There's a life out there that is unbelievably enriching. And what we have to do, though, is just begin the journey. And these two alignments that I'm mentioning is about that. Making sure that we are expecting a synchronistic answer to these questions that ground us. This is your journey, asking your questions, right? And that's that zone of I'm on my way in this life journey. I'm the center of it, and that doesn't mean being selfishly aloof about it. It means centering in your real journey, and which yields your real fulfilling, ultimately, your contribution to the world. So with describing the real world, I'm seeking to just share and to remind and to really inspire everyone to move into that with a new seriousness. You don't have to have ordinary answers that your ego tries to make up. you can find your inspired answers, expecting mysterious coincidences to help you. So this is the environment we face, and when we feel clamped down, uh, maybe the economy you love, the parts of the economy you love, have disappeared by a government entity. Nobody voted for this. This was handed down. So, but it's important, even if you think that was a corrupt move, a corrupt situation we've been thrown into. The dark side has its own motivations. It's important, again, to not go into hate. Because if we go into any kind of hate or outrage or anger against the dark side, what we do is join the dark side, and it gets bigger. I mean, it's truly the knight's journey. We have to stand for something. We stand for the light side. But if you go into hate, you lose that. So we have to stay in this consciousness where love is at the center, and I'll explain that in a few minutes once we get to the global prayer. Now this is a joint effort. So opening to the energy is something we'll all do together. I hope you've already texted some of your friends to add their energy to this. This is not any energy that I can do without everyone together in this, and more, but sincerely in it. So again, there's no advertisements about this. This is word of mouth. We'll be doing it every week. We'll be talking about the spiritual life. We'll be talking about the steps to breaking out of the clamp down you feel on your soul. And together, when we do this, it gives energy to the overall connected consciousness on the planet. And again, there's more meditation going on out there than ever. And so that in part is why it's easier to do than ever before, because the energy is right to do it. It's open. There's an opening to do it. So pass the word, and we'll keep these going and grow as we grow. But ultimately, we should, this is something that we should be able to get lots of people to join, because at one point, it's just the value is being all in it together with enough people or more people to raise that availability of consciousness to others who are in the dark side, others who are confused and bummed out, right? So let's move into a kind of relaxation. And if you're driving or doing anything else where it's unsafe to have distractions, do not do this meditation with us. Just watch the recording later, and they'll all be there. Because it's just not safe. So be safe out there with this. But what I would love for you to do is join me in a kind of couple of breaths, big breaths. Just fill your lungs and let it out. Just seek a kind of relaxation. And begin to go into the intention of this this prayer meditation. The intention we want to set, I believe, together is moving in to this connected consciousness. We want to be able to let go of the things that are bothering us, the mental chatter, and we'll also see that we'll ask that everyone let go of their emotional chatter and focus on moving into this connected consciousness. And with it, we envision and expect that it moves out into the world. And so we'll move through those steps as we go. So again, just take some breaths, shut your eyes, leave them open. It's okay if you're on a walk. It's okay. Just don't be distracted. If you're sitting outside, that's maybe even the best. But let's just go into this meditation and this sense of connection. And we intend immediately to move with each other into this higher consciousness that we aspire to. We want to just make sure that our intention is to not just let go of all the chatter, mental chatter about why we don't have time to do this, or why we should be doing something else, or what we have to do afterward, or just let all of that go. Every time it comes up, just come back to the sense of presence and this intention to move into a higher consciousness and connection with the divine. And let's just spend a little bit of time letting go, let go of, again, of all the mental chatter. Just make sure you come back every time into this zone of presence with the divine. Let's remember now to let go of the emotional chatter. You know, that background fear or the simmering anger or the hurts, the emotional hurts that we've still remember and have brought forward into the present with us. You know, the hurts can be let go of. And let's move to what I believe is a new way of healing our emotions, and that's by intending that we replace these emotions. We come back to what is our master emotion, our strong, our centered, our invigorating emotion, and that is agape love. Now, we've all felt love. We have felt love as a child for a parent or a puppy, or we've felt the emotion of love. We've been, we've felt the bliss of love as a teenager with our first crush. It's something that we all know, but let's use it in a special way, because what we're seeking is this love that is agape. It's not a love that has an object. It's a love that is a state, emotional state Okay. And again, feel, if you have to remember how it feels, many people can feel touched with love when they think of their departed loved ones, especially if they are coming close in this meditation. You know, that's, you know, that's magical love. I mean, it's a special love, I should say. Now just stay in this emotion of love. And again, this is the strongest place. This is not mushy or whimsily created. This is the heart of spiritual connection. It's the strongest emotional stability that we can have. And it replaces the lower emotions. So if you're feeling one of these three lower emotions, just let it go. Just let it go. Come back to this love, heart-centered, heart-opening kind of love in general as a state of emotional being. Continue to release any of the mental chatter until we can just be in the present with this heart-opened state of love, our birthright of strength. And now, let's just be together with everyone on this meditation. What would it be? How far does it go out? Where around the world are the people that are together with us in this space? And so now wherever you are, we're all connected, wherever you are, whatever dwelling you're in, or if you're outside, just begin to let this consciousness, this level of connection, move out of your crown and just flow like a wave in all directions. Think about your town, your state. Move out through the town. Let it drift over the wooded areas, the villages, along the highways, and go all the way into the next state, and then the next state, all the way until you're have covered your country, wherever it is. This is worldwide, wherever the country you're in, and it goes into the other countries. So we have these multi-layered waves coming around the globe now. Let's just let it flow over the whole surface of planet Earth. Let's just feel the surge through us out in all that space and how it lifts us as the energy flows through us out into the world. let's make sure we intend for this love connection to especially move into areas that have conflict, that are suffering from droughts or any kind of earth activity, or throughout any place where there's conflict and war. Let's especially pull it in there and just feel it moving in. Move to all the heads of governments all around the world. Let's just see it moving there and bringing with it a sense of right action, moving into the responsibility of governing other people. And let's make it especially enlightening for those who somehow have rationalized the corruption. And see these government individuals as having a great responsibility to be fair and honest, and see them blowing past those lower motivations to the highest motivation of guiding other human beings. Let's just hold this in the world. And let's simmer into every dark corner. Let it move into every person, wherever they are, safely uplifting them into this kind of conscious connection, this kind of heart open connection with the divine and with the divine inspiration. And so lastly, let's just see this moving into the heart of every individual on the planet. Let's envision this opening that heart area, opening that connected place. And let's see all the inspiration energy that we've built that comes naturally in this connection. Opening them up to that. And let's just, before we end this, let's establish it. Let's hold that it can be a resonant level of consciousness that stays in place around the whole planet, within everyone on the planet. Every animal, every plant, the whole planet. And lastly, let's just move it into the universe all the way into this cosmos of ours. The connection with divine presence within us, within our discovery of mission, lifting our inspiration energy, lifting the synchronistic answers and help we get. Let's just hold it one more moment with all that we can in this connection, moving it out into the universe. And now let's just begin to come back to ourselves. When you can, open your eyes. So that was great. See, that's it. You know, that's the inspiration energy is what replaces all of the negative emotions. You know, this heart strength that we've experienced. That's the great treasure of life. You know, that's our birthright to move into that. And it does what it can do to bring people from this materialistic power and greed kind of desolate place over into this zone with us. So again, thank you. I think that we will, really have some great effects. It's time to do it. Consciousness is strong enough to move through the universe, and that attracts people. And that, I think, is important. A couple other energy maintenance kinds of things I'll leave you with. One is be an energy giver. And sometimes it's hard when we're in a place, of low energy. But remember that actually envisioning energy, this love-born energy that we've just experienced coming up through us and out into the world, especially to a human being, and especially if they need it. So what happens if we do that is that we become a little more chattier, a little bit more conscious of the other person. And if we also, and we'll talk more about this as we go on with this campaign, but if you're given energy and you're seeking to be a synchronicity, to think of something you can say about your life to help another person with, and if you ask, it'll come to you. Some solution you found, some way of handling a situation that you discovered that worked, and you get that comes to your mind. You're talking to another person. That's when you work it into the conversation. What you'll hear is, needed to hear that right now in my life from the other person. And that's when you're in this zone and staying in this zone, because as we'll see next time, giving is the activator. Because if we're seeking to give, we attract more givers into our lives. And anybody can prove that to themselves. So we'll move through these alignments with and how to activate the real design of the universe as we go. But again, thank you for participating, and thank you for thinking of others, asking yourself, well, who else would benefit from this, would want to be part of this, and send the texts out. So we'll do this every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. So let's just grow, and let's just spread the word out there. Let people know the recording is available. on Facebook. So thank you very much for participating. I'm in a zone. I hope you are. And we'll talk again next week.